Hey guys, so this video is going to be showing you how to take a stack of 2x4s and turn it into this, a fully customized workbench. It's super strong and built to last. It's got a metal top on it. It's all 2x4 and plywood construction. And stay tuned and we'll show you how this thing's built. So I know that was a major spoiler. I wanted to do something different. Anyway, we're going to get started framing up a workbench here. This is going to be the biggest workbench I've ever built. I just got regular 2x4s. So what's going to happen here, we're going to run a workbench from the right edge of the screen, right here by this tankless heater where that pipe's running down, all the way down to that light switch. So about right there at the edge, right there. And it comes out to like 13.5 foot, or 160 inches, I believe. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to remeasure everything, and we're going to get started on this. If that tankless heater wasn't there, I would have built an L-shaped workbench all the way down over here, but there's just no way I can do it. It'd be a major deal to move all that, so we're not going to fool with that. But over here in the corner is going to be where the toolboxes and my main parts box is, and my bolt bin. Like I said on the previous video, on this side there may be a small workbench over here in this corner, and down through here is going to be lockers and cabinets and stuff to store parts in. Here's another thing I bought for the workbench is 2 diamond plate power strips. Be more details in the description about where you can pick that up. But without saying any more, let's get started on this. It's not going to be 100% step by step, so it'll just take too long with video, but I will show you my method of building a workbench. This will be the third one I've built like this, and they seem to be very strong and they hold up. It's also going to be painted too, and I'm going to have a steel plate on the top of the workbench. But the steel plate on the top and mounting the vise and drill press and all that stuff will be a separate video. This is just going to be like constructing the actual workbench itself and maybe some of the painting of it. Then we'll mount it to the wall over here. This part of the floor is the most level, so it should be fairly easy to level it with. And we'll level it with the cinder block, that way it looks good on the video. It may not be actually level, I don't know, but that'd be the best way to make it look right. So let's just get started on it. Okay, this is 160 inches lined out here, so I'm gonna get ready to make the first board. It'll be run that way, and there'll be a splice in it. I'm gonna offset the splice on the front side. It'll make more sense here in a minute. So let's let me go ahead and do the first cut on that and get our total length. Ordinarily, you just make a workbench like 8 foot long. This, like I said, is gonna be like 13.5 approximately. So I'm just gonna make it all one workbench. But you could split it in half and make 2 small ones. I just thought it'd be simpler to do it like this. So these 2x4s are actual 8 foot 2x4s. They're not the pre-cut studs. So we're looking at exactly 96 inches. So I take the 160, subtract 96, leaves it with 64. So we're going to cut a board at 64 inch. That'll be enough to splice in. Don't forget to wear safety glasses anytime you cut wood or anything as far as that goes. Anytime you make any adjustments from a saw like this, take the battery off or unplug a quarter saw. There's no chance of it coming on. Okay, I was going to put like this splice down here just to offset them to make it stronger, but I was thinking I'll just run a brace here and on the other side of that and run in this way, and it should be just as strong, if not stronger. Okay guys, so the main part of the frame's together, and I went ahead and changed my mind and did the offset. It worked out good though. The spacing right here lined up so I could put a brace. It's at a slight angle, but it ain't gonna matter. And you can see everything here. I didn't actually like measure the braces. I mean, you can if you want everything to come out exactly even. And I will have to measure over 8 foot, which I just happened to think about. So I got a nailer for the piece of plywood. So you got to take that into consideration too. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll see what we got. Okay, so what I did, I had to put one more brace in right here, as you can see, just so it's right in the center of 8 foot. The way both pieces of plywood will be able to nail down to it. What I'm going to use, I got a whole sheet of 1/2 inch plywood. It's actual plywood. I'd recommend not using like OSB board for something like this. You want to use plywood, it's just so much better. I put 2 layers of 1/2 inch plywood, and down, like I said, in the next video will be the sheet metal going on top of it. Okay, at this point, the frame's all together, as you just seen. Now we're ready to start making legs, and this is where you have to determine the height of the workbench. And I like the workbench approximately 37 inches high, so I'm cutting the legs at 36 inches, and that allows the 1 inch for the plywood on the top, plus an extra 1/8 inch for the sheet metal. It's a personal preference, but this is the time you're going to have to decide what you want. Because, I mean, if you make it too tall, you can always cut the legs back off, you know, but if you make them too short, then you're going to have to cut all new wood for the legs, you know. So, like I said, this is going to be cut at 36 inches. And you also have to determine the spacing. I'm going to do about 5 approximately through here and probably about 4 on the back, and that should be just fine. It's also going to be anchored to the center block wall and the concrete floor, so it's going to be pretty stout, you know. So, and if you wanted to, you can make it out of 2x6s or, you know, just whatever you got on hand. The 2x4 seem to be perfect. So that's what I've always built them out of. This is the biggest one I've ever built though. Okay guys, so I got ahead of myself on the video and I lost some footage because I thought the camera was on the time lapse and it was actually just recording a regular video, and I'll have to edit that down as much as I can. My software won't let me speed videos up for some reason, so I lost that much of the footage. And I will walk you through everything that's done before I start putting the sheeting on, before we paint it. That way you'll know what's going on here. I got the bottom part framed up for a shelf. And you know, you really have to plan ahead on things. And a little tip, if you figure up everything, you know, draw a quick picture. I usually don't draw stuff, but you know, do yourself a favor and draw a picture of what you're going to build. And I came up with needing 16 2x4s, and I bought 18, so I always added 2, and that's what I got left. You see on the floor besides scrap pieces. So you know, always add 2 or 3 to it. And I would have had more than that left over if I decided to put this center brace all the way down here in the center, just to strengthen up the top that much more. And just, you know, anytime you add a brace to something like this, it just makes it that much sturdier. And one thing you might want to do, say I added the 2x4 on the back side, that way both of them will be flush up against the wall when I mount it. So I got more, you know, this will be mounted too, as well as this. But really, this board should be on the inside to support the shelf. So I had to add braces in between, you know, to support all that more, to make it stronger. But like this corner right here won't be supported very good. So, you know, you can always add another brace to it, or, you know, a corner brace or something, you know, but I think it'll be just fine. But you can kind of get an idea of how I'll build it. Like I said, it's just a little bit shaky right now, but that's because it's not anchored. So I'll anchor those 2 2x4s to the wall, and the front legs will be anchored into the concrete, putting like 1 or 2 Tapcons in each one, and so that'll strengthen that up considerably. And also, I plan on running a circuit out of the breaker box. I was going to use conduit, but I'm kind of second thinking that now, just to try to keep things simple, because it's going to be protected anyway up underneath the workbench. So I might just do that and just keep things simple. I ain't decided yet. But I got there's 2 power strips that's going to be mounted on the front here. I'm going to center them, like, you know what I mean, divide everything up, and you'll see it by the end of the video. Yeah, it turned out really good, guys. It's probably gonna be the best workbench I've ever built. And again, it's 2 foot long, or the width is 2 foot. It's 2 foot deep, 36 inches high before the plywood's added to the top. And it's approximately 13.5 foot long. It's 160 inches, I think. And so it's completely customized for this. And I was going to have another leg in the center of the back here, but I had to take it back off to allow room for that furnace vent and gas line. And this bottom shelf will go over that pipe, so I can hook up anything to that I need to. But yeah, I think it turned out great, guys. And I'll give you an estimated cost of what it's going to cost to do this. The 2x4s and the more than plenty box, and the box of screws I bought was twice as many as I needed, but I always like to have some on hand. It's about approximately $155, I think, just for the wood and screws to get it to this point. So a sheet of plywood is going to be approximately $40 to $50. So you're looking at right there is $200. And then the sheet metal that goes on the top is going to be approximately like between 100 and 150. So I mean, you're looking at $350 to $400 for a solid workbench like this. Now a lot of people will build a workbench with just layers of 2x4s going like this and not have plywood. That's perfectly fine too, but it takes a lot more work to get it precise, especially with the 2x4s that are available today. So it's up to you what you want to do and what you're going to use it for too. But this is going to be super strong. So I decided to go ahead and mount it to the wall for right now, and then cut everything just so I know, like this, the whole thing's kind of bowed just a little bit. This is going to pull it into the wall, so it should straighten everything up. And just make sure it's where you want. So like I said, we're using Tapcons, and we're putting some pretty long screws in to help hold it. I just thought I'd show one on camera how I'm mounting this. That's pretty much it. I'm going to put as many in as I can just to really strengthen it up. Okay, so now I'm going to start ripping this plywood down the middle. Start doing that, and that's definitely not a diesel engine sitting there in a box holding that up for me. Alright guys, it's starting to come together now. I miscalculated the plywood. For some reason I was thinking I'd be able to get 4 2-foot strips out of a sheet of plywood, but you don't want to get 2 2-foot pieces out of a 4-foot wide sheet. So I miscalculated that. I thought 1 sheet would be enough for the whole thing, but I completely misjudged that. So I'm gonna have to pick up another sheet of plywood, probably some more drywall screws. I'm using like 1.25 inch drywall screws here. I'm just trying to go into all the bracing just to make everything strong. You can see a couple of them I missed and had to redo, but it really ties it together. And you want a lot of screws in the first layer of plywood because that's kind of like the foundation of the top of it. And it's not perfect, but the little thing. You see it's a little bit short here, but like I said, it's going to be a piece of angle covering all that, so it's not going to matter. Okay guys, just got some more stuff in. I got 2 more sheets of plywood. I went with 3/8. I did use 1/2 inch on the top. I figured since you're putting a steel plate on it, should be fine. And got the steel in. There's 2 pieces here for the bench. I had to buy a whole piece. So right there's what was left over. And the price went up since I priced it last. It was $171 for a 4x8 sheet of 11 gauge steel, or 1/8 steel. But it is what it is. It's gonna make a really nice workbench. And I got enough to close in the shelf too. I'm kind of debating about leaving this one section right here open. I haven't really decided. That way I can hook up to the gas line easier for the generator, but I haven't decided yet. I want to do some more cutting off camera, and we'll just look at it after I get the next layer on. It's pretty much the same thing, just over again. So we'll look at it here in a few minutes after I get the plywood cut for the top, and then we'll work on the shelf. I'll just show it all together. Okay, so that's the second layer on. See, it's not a whole lot of difference. It's still adding more to it, you know. I try to put the factory edge like on the outside and up against the wall. Okay guys, it's just sitting on here for right now. It's almost perfect. They cut it very good. And it's off just a hair, not enough to worry about. Perfectly straight. Flush up against the wall. There is no cracks or anything. It's sealed pretty good. Now we'll get started anchoring. We're just going to drill through it and put like drywall screws in it. And when you come back to do this, just be careful you don't go all the way through, or you pretty much rendered it useless. You can kind of tell like when it starts going like all the way through, and that's when you want to stop. It's kind of just trial and error until you get the feel of it. Okay guys, I'm going to just give you a quick update where we're at here. We got the whole top mounted. I may have to grind a few of these down just so that everything sits flush on here. I got 2 pieces put in here. I'm just kind of piecing it together. I'm going to try to make one solid piece from where this one left off all the way down to these legs here. That way it'd just be easier to cut out. Okay guys, I got all the shelf done. I made it one continuous piece from here all the way down to here. There's 2 pieces down there and there's 1 piece on the end, but I think it'll be alright. It looks good enough for me. Now all that's left is painting it. Okay guys, so we got the first coat of black on. Like I said, there's going to be an angle piece covering up that top edge, make that look better. It's definitely going to take a second coat. You can see it's trying to soak in a lot in certain places. I put a fairly thin coat on so to compensate for that, so it'll dry faster, and definitely going to need a second coat for sure. I'll try to do that tomorrow, but just want to give you a little in-between shot here. So let's see what it looks like here in a minute. The second coat on it. Alright guys, so that's the second coat on it. You can see it looks a lot shinier. Try to get an angle, yeah, you can kind of see it there. You're still going to have a few dull spots. There's certain spots of the wood that soaks up the paint more than other spots. Like I said, I considered the third coat after this. It's still wet, I literally just finished. But I think it'll be fine just like this. It's just a workbench. It's going to get dirty and stuff anyway, so I think this will be fine. But yeah, I just want to show y'all how to build a really nice custom workbench. But it'll last a long time, and being metal top like this, it just provides a much better work area, and it's easier to clean up. Like if we tear an engine down, there's always oil that comes out. On the wood workbench, it just soaks it up. This, it'll just puddle up, and you just wipe it off and spray it down with some carburetor cleaner, or use some paint thinner on a rag or something. You got back to cleaning again. And this mark here is, it's slightly rusted just from where they stored it, but that'll clean up the first time I clean it up. That's why I wasn't too worried about that. But, well guys, you got any questions or comments or suggestions on this workbench? Feel free to leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And stay tuned for the next video on this. It'll be like a part 2 almost. So, thanks for watching guys. I'll catch you on the next one.